So this third party thing is taking a different turn. I saw a YouTuber basically point out a joke that was made by the social media manager of Xbox, made a whole video about it, saying more of Xbox being dead, dead, dead talk, and then basically admitting that it was a joke. However, I think this is something that I've always recommended for Xbox to do, which is to lean into the fact that they publish third party and they make their games available to everybody. For the most part, this so-called exclusivity had been some kind of a talking point. It is not really the most profitable point in terms of, companies being able to make money and earn, big huge paychecks. However, availability is what's the winner. And I'll show you by proof of a game that came out about 4 years ago, of which its availability was right there, and the game, like other games that are available, that are beloved, that are good, has won. Now, Xbox's New Zealand, it looks like this is their New Zealand account, pretty much went ahead and put up this post and said, "This is a pair of Xbox." And the caption here says, "Here are more for you to debate on what is an Xbox." Ooh, they are sowing seeds of console war discourse, because the reality is this is how they make their money. Those that are actually, traditionalists, I think for them, they think this is something that's going to kill the Xbox brand. But what you fail to realize is expansion in the right direction, basically where you sell more software, which is actually what's necessary to be able to be a thriving publisher, is definitely something that I think any company that embraces and does well and treats their customers well will benefit from. That's not even the end. They go ahead and they say this is a pair of Crocs. Ooh. And then they go ahead and say this is an Xbox, basically putting a cell phone there. And they say this is a Boxster. Now, this is a Microsoft and Tesla, they got a little thing going on, but this is probably like, underhanded, shout out to the Teslas that can actually do stuff like this. This is a box. This is an Xbox. This is an Xbox. And this is, somebody posted this. Now, this is actually much more of a recent post. What I want to show you guys, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that this particular paradigm continues to show itself that you will win if, number one, your game is good, and number two, you make it available. Those are the two criteria that you actually do need. Look at Cyberpunk 2077, ladies and gentlemen. They have reportedly sold over 20 million units of their game. This is a big deal for this developer. I know CD Projekt Red is going through their own little investor dragging, which hopefully they get some sense and investors get some sense, but we're going to see how it plays out, because no one is infallible. I mean, I saw the way a lot of the different fan bases treated their own developers when the developers were acting a fool. So we're about to see CD Projekt Red actually prove themselves if they're about it or if they can't take it. 30 million copies sold for Cyberpunk 2077. Did I say 20 million? I meant to say 30 million. The last time they put the ad out there, it was 20 million copies. Then they went ahead and sold about 8 million copies of Phantom Liberty. And they put a little thing underneath here. As of 26 November, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, copies of the expansion sold separately and in the Ultimate Bundle pretty much has yielded about 8 million. And also the same caveat goes for the November 26th, date as well. Now, what is the underlying thing here? Make your games and bring them everywhere. That's pretty much the money maker. This whole talk about exclusivity, to me, I just can't wonder how anybody thinks that this is a winning, strategy. Now, yes, okay, let me be fair. There are some games that are, say, your signature games, right? Let's just call them your signature games. Games that you shouldn't necessarily see on any other platform. You know what I mean? Now, these games may not necessarily be making you a killing, but again, maybe you can use it just to say this is our unique selling point. This is our unique game, our flagship game and whatnot. But at the end of the day, making your game available for, other players is something that transcends just exclusivity. It builds your brand to a place where the next time you're making another game, you have that core audience that bought your game just sitting and waiting to patronize your other game. It's almost like you're creating a sure landing pad. Even though the market may change, even though circumstances may be weird, that are not going to go ahead and abandon your project and leave you to basically the elements out there for them to come and eat your lunch. Let me show you something that I'm very certain about in terms of what I've seen. Let's take, for instance, Helldivers 2 as, say, a, example of availability versus exclusivity, but versus treating your community right. This is Helldivers 2, and this is how it fared on the Steam rankings. It was pretty much so far number 4 top, concurrently played game on Steam when it launched. This was a big deal, a big title. Everybody got to see this development. People were excited. People were happy. But somewhere along the line, PlayStation thought, let's maybe remove this, capability of people to be able to go ahead and play this game. They probably thought it was a great idea. MAUs are big, and Xbox has got MAUs. Xbox has got MAUs coming out their front teeth. It's insane how much MAUs, Xbox is doing. Now, are they trying to follow Xbox to do MAUs? I mean, I'm not going to make that conclusion. Perhaps it looks good to shareholders because now their competitor is now using it as a new metric, and so their shareholders may be asking, so what do your MAUs look like? Well, they're not going to be able to match MAUs with Xbox at the moment anyways. I mean, just Call of Duty alone is sitting on top of all the lists, but that aside. And what did these guys decide to do? They decided that they were going to go ahead and, number one, implement a PlayStation account requirement. And then when the community pushed back and said, this is a whole bunch of horse baloney, they went ahead and patched the game. I don't know if many of you know this. I saw another YouTuber, I can't remember their name, that talked about how they packaged and patched the game to not be able to be played outside of regions or bought from regions outside. Now, are they mandated to sell their games to everybody? Well, no. However, the action of them wanting to mandate a requirement after people have bought the game where refunds were not necessarily, a possibility for the most part. And I'm sure Steam would have probably refunded some people money if they had brought that later. And I think they did. I can't remember. That already was a terrible measure to actually get their, audience into their, their ecosystem and into their, their good books. So now what do these people have, in terms of a perception with PlayStation? They don't have a good perception. They're not, in a sense, thrilled when PlayStation has a game coming out. How are these people going to respond when a PlayStation game comes to the market? I don't think they're going to respond in the most accepting way. And contrast that with a game like Cyberpunk 2077. This game came out busted on the PlayStation 4. Some people had issues with their PC version, and the game overall had elements within it that still needed to be cleaned up. However, over time, because of how they saw the developers take their time continuing to add features to this game came out, and there were some features that were still not even implemented in PC gaming that Cyberpunk 2077 has right now. It is a game that is used for benchmarks. It is a game that NVIDIA uses. It just got so much marketing around it. And the game basically came and delivered something that a lot of the community and a lot of the audience could resonate with. So if CD Projekt Red were to make another game, even though there might be, all kinds of different ideas as to, okay, what is their game going to look like? I can almost tell you that there's a number of people that will be happy to buy a CD Projekt Red game. And this exactly is what I believe that Xbox is playing on when it comes to this is an Xbox campaign all over the place. They're ensuring that they're creating raving fans. It's a very interesting strategy. There's one company that used it and has been using it, and they're basically surpassing a lot of other companies in their industry. Won't talk about it in this video, but I wanted to go ahead and point this out because I thought it was very interesting. Thanks for watching the video. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I really appreciate you guys' time and audience, and hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.